Use my code PAID10 to get 10% off your next order of Advanced GG. What are the most used weapons in Destiny 2's Revenant Act 3? That is the topic of today's video, because if we find out what everybody's using, we will then in fact answer the question, what are the best weapons to use? What is the most powerful? That is the list that I'm putting together today. And this list is not going to be based off of my opinion. These are all going to be facts that I'm getting from a website called D2 Tracker. It literally breaks down the percentage usage rates of each of these weapons. So if your favorite weapon isn't on this list, definitely let me know what you guys are using out there in episode Revenant Act 3 down in the comments. And if you disagree with anything on this list, you can definitely yell at me down in the comments as well. It's definitely fine. I won't cry myself to sleep about it. And with that being said, let's get into it. Now, coming in at number 10, we have the Sunshot Exotic Hand Cannon, which has an overall usage rate of 1.34%. This has been a very popular choice for the longest time. It's an exotic solar energy hand cannon, and you can get this from exotic engrams and extremely rare world drops. Comes with the exotic perk Sunburn. This weapon fires explosive rounds and highlights targets that take damage from Sunshot, and it also has the exotic perk Sun Blast. Targets defeated with Sunshot explode in solar energy, scorching other nearby targets. There's also an exotic catalyst you can get for this, which gives you plus 20 stability and plus 30 range. The reason this hand cannon is so good is because it synergizes with the solar subclass verb Scorch. Spreading enough Scorch with this hand cannon allows enemies to ignite. Ignitions in PvE are very strong, and since this is a hand cannon, Bungie likes to put hand cannons in the artifact, so oftentimes this hand cannon is very viable in endgame PvE. If you're a new player, definitely look into getting this bad boy. Up next, we are talking about the Edge Transit Heavy Grenade Launcher, which is actually tied with the Sunshot at a 1.34% overall usage rate. The Edge Transit is a legendary void power grenade launcher, and if you want to get your hands on this, you have to do the Into the Light activities, aka the Onslaught, and you can actually go over to Zavala and focus this weapon, so that way at the end of the Onslaught runs, you'll get a higher chance for this to drop out of the chest. It's an adaptive frame grenade launcher, and it comes with a bunch of good perks, but really, the perk combination that made this so popular is the combination of Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch. Envious Assassin states that defeating targets with other weapons before drawing this one transfers ammo to the magazine from reserves, which is really good because it's going to overfill your magazine. And then you pair that with Bait and Switch, where when you deal damage with all other equipped weapons within a short time, you'll give this weapon a damage boost, and you're going to gain a 30% increase to damage with this Edge Transit grenade launcher when Bait and Switch is active. So if you're looking for a void heavy grenade launcher to do DPS, Edge Transit is the best bet for you. And like I said, you can target farm this, so it's pretty easy to get your hands on it. Definitely pick this one up. Up next, we have the Aarant Action, which has an overall usage rate of 1.63%. The Aarant Action is a legendary solar energy sidearm, and this is the rocket assisted frame, which are hands down the best sidearms in the game. If you guys want to pick this up, you guys are going to have to do the episode Echo activities, and you can get red borders and fully craft this to get exactly what you want on it. This does have a pretty cool basic origin trait, the Radiolaria Transposer. Rapid final blows cause targets to explode into a pool of Radiolaria fluid, so it kind of drops a mini Wither Horde on the ground, which will damage other enemies who pass through it, which is pretty cool. Just like our last weapon, this has some really good perks that can roll on it. But once again, most players are going to go for one perk combination, and that is the combination of Heal Clip and Incandescent. Heal Clip states that reloading shortly after dealing a final blow grants cure to you and your nearby allies. So this will just help you stay alive in that harder endgame content. And then just like the Sunshot hand cannon, you can also spread Scorch with this weapon with the trait Incandescent. Defeating a target spreads Scorch to those nearby. More powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause Scorch in a larger radius. So once again, this is a very good weapon to have in your toolbox, especially if you're trying to utilize those solar builds. You'll be able to ignite everything on the battlefield and clear out entire rooms of ads with this Incandescent perk. And I do believe the episode Echo activities will be going away soon, so definitely jump on this and collect all 5 red borders so you can craft this while you can. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we have the Wither Horde, which has an overall usage rate of 1.77. The Wither Horde is an exotic kinetic grenade launcher. Super easy to get. All you have to do is head on over to the tower and go to the exotic archive and spend some materials, and you can pick this up there. Has the exotic perks Prime Evil's Torment. Projectiles fired by this weapon blight the target or nearby area on impact and break the bank. blighted targets take damage over time and blight the nearby area on death. It also has an exotic catalyst that gives this weapon auto-loading holster and increases your handling by 40. The reason this weapon is so good is because it has the auto-loading holster and the damage over time. So when boss damage situations, you switch to this, fire off a shot, and then switch to your heavy weapon. The Wither Horde will continue to do damage as you're doing damage with your heavy weapon, and then periodically you just switch back to Wither Horde and fire off another shot to keep the damage ticks going. Definitely pick this weapon up. Next up at number 6, we have the Tass Mastery with a 2.3% overall usage rate. This is a legendary kinetic sidearm that does stasis damage, and the only way to get this is to get into Iron Banner, complete Iron Banner matches, and earn rank up packages from Lord Saladin. Once again, this is a rocket assisted frame, like I said earlier, best sidearms in the game, and everyone out there pretty much agrees that the combination of air trigger and chill clip is the god roll. Air trigger is going to increase your inventory size, so you'll be able to carry more shots. Going to give you a really fast reload. All you got to do is jump in the air, and you pair that with chill clip. Direct hits with the top half of the magazine cause detonation, and it will slow nearby targets, so you can actually stunt overloads and unstoppable champions with this sidearm. Not a lot of people like Iron Banner, but it's definitely worth it to get in there to get this god roll. Now we are halfway through with this video, and if you made it this far, do me a favor and drop a like for that sweet algorithm, and consider subscribing for more Destiny 2 content. Coming in at number 5, we have the Velocity Baton. This has an overall usage rate of 2.54%. This is a legendary energy grenade launcher doing void damage, and if you want to get your hands on this weapon, you will have to complete encounters in the Vespers Host dungeon. This is an aerial denial frame, so it's kind of like the Wither Horde. It'll leave a pool that damages enemies over time, and the reason this weapon is so sought after is because it can get attrition orbs. Dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power, and like I said, this leaves a pool that creates sustained damage, so you can create a ton of orbs with this, which will help you get your super back and activate armor mods. And a lot of people like to pair this with Demolitionist, one of the best grenade launchers in the game. Definitely go after this thing. Coming in at number 4, we have the VSS Chill Inhibitor with an overall usage rate of 2.68%. This is a legendary power grenade launcher that does stasis damage. Once again, you're going to have to hop into the Vespers Host dungeon to acquire this. It's a rapid frame grenade launcher, and it comes with the perk combination of Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch. Envious Arsenal states that when you deal damage with both other weapons, it'll refill this grenade launcher from reserves, which pairs perfectly with Bait and Switch, where when you deal damage with all equipped weapons within a short time, you'll get that 30% damage increase. This is hands down one of the best DPS grenade launchers for raids and any kind of boss encounter that you can come across. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Malfeasance, which has an overall usage rate of 3.15%. This is an exotic kinetic hand cannon, and if you want to get this, it is tied to an exotic quest or challenge. Comes with the perk Explosive Shadow, short-tainted slugs that burrow into combatants. Stacking enough slugs causes them all to explode, stunning surviving combatants. Strong against unstoppable champions. It also has Taken Predator, bonus damage against taken enemies and Gambit invaders. And the thing that makes this weapon so strong is its catalyst. Gives it Vorpal Weapon, increased damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians in their super. It also gives you a plus 20 to your range. Since this is a primary weapon, Vorpal Weapon is going to grant you a 20% increase to damage. And to take this thing to the next level, a lot of hunters like to pair this with Lucky Pants for an even bigger damage increase. Even though this is a primary weapon, the combination of the Catalyst and Lucky Pants makes this thing output massive amounts of damage. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have the Graviton Lance with an overall usage rate of 3.6%. This is an exotic energy pulse rifle doing void damage. This comes from exotic engrams and world drops. Has the exotic perks Black Hole. Second shot of the burst rips a hole through space-time, doing high damage and recoil with no fall off. And Cosmology. Kills with this weapon cause enemy targets to detonate and spawn void projectiles that track to targets. This also comes with a Catalyst Vorpal Weapon to give you that 20% increase to damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians in their super. And it also has Turnabout. Using this weapon to break the shield of a combatant or guardian using their super will grant you an overshield, and it also gives you a plus 20 to your range. Graviton Lance has always been strong, and there's no signs of it stopping. The void projectiles do massive amounts of damage and can clear entire rooms of ads. If you aren't using this weapon, I don't know what you're doing. Now coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the Lost Signal Grenade Launcher, which has an overall usage rate of 4.48%, most used weapon in PvE by far. A legendary kinetic grenade launcher, it does stasis damage, and once again, it's an aerial denial frame, which is like the Wither Horde and will leave a pool on the ground every time you shoot it. The reason this weapon is so good is because it is craftable. If you want to get your hands on this, you're going to have to do Episode Echoes activities, and once you get all 5 red borders, you can craft whatever you want. Comes with a bunch of great perks, but most people go for auto loading in that first column and Vorpal weapon in that last column. Auto loading to automatically reload this after 3.5 seconds, and Vorpal weapon for that extra 15% damage against champions and bosses. And another reason why this weapon is so popular is because it builds your transcendence meter extremely fast when you guys are using a prismatic subclass. So you guys, we made it to the end. If you guys stuck around for the entire video, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed this content and you guys wanted me to make more videos like this. And once again, if your favorite weapon didn't make this list, let me know about it down in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.